Happy
Happy
Saturday.
Saturday.
We
How are
are
you?
What's up?
live. Woo! And we have a special guest in the building. If you have not noticed, Miss Camille Priscilla is in the
Hello.
building.
Hey
Yes.
guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. It's so good to see you. Like, I know we were just talking about how you've been supporting us behind the scenes since becoming Eva started.
Yeah.
But this is our first time having you on as a guest. So we're so excited to have you.
Glad to be here, guys. You guys are doing great. Amazing job.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, you all, last week we kicked off our month of becoming. And of course, we each week we're going to be sharing stories from very special women. And
Yeah.
Camille Grant is definitely a special woman indeed. So we're going to be talking about her journey, both personally and professionally. And we're excited to dive in. But before we do that, we got to talk what's trending. So let's dive into what's trending. Okay. So first and foremost, a lot of breakups this week. A lot of breakups and divorces, or news of divorces. First up, we had the news of Tia Mowry as well as her husband Corey Hardrick divorcing, which
Yeah.
is a rough one because I know I have just supported and just loved on their family, admired their family from afar for years. They actually have been married 14 years. They have two children, a son, Cree, who's 11, and a daughter, Cairo, who is 4. Both of them are in the acting business and have been for, a couple decades at least, if not more. And, have just been doing this thing, raising their children together and having a beautiful family together. They were featured on Black Love a couple of years ago. And so Tia posted on, I believe, Instagram or social media that they are going to be going their separate ways, but they'll continue to remain friends as they co-parent. So tough one, a very tough one. Divorce always breaks my heart. But any thoughts or any feedback regarding this news shared this week?
Yeah, I was a little sad and disappointed too when I saw it. I was like, oh man, because
Yeah.
I grew up watching Sister Sister, so I've been
Yeah.
a fan of the different things that she has acted in, and as well as her husband. So it's always a little disheartening when you hear of families breaking up, and
Yeah.
especially with kids.
Yeah. And yeah, big confession for me too. Love Sister Sister. I always felt like I was a part of the cast because they felt like sisters to me or friends from like high school. I really loved that show so much. And divorce is never fun. And I feel like as celebrities, it's the hardest thing to go through because that should be the most private affair. But for them, it's more embarrassing. It's more because you're going through almost like grief. 14 years is a long time. And you want to keep that stuff to yourself, I feel. So I'm glad I'm not a celebrity for that reason. And there was like cryptic messages before all that happened. Like Tia on Tuesday IG story. I just saw this from like news. She said, letting go but it won't hurt as much as holding onto an illusion. So I don't know if that was based on the situation. And then Corey put something on his IG story the Monday last week where he said, acting off of emotions will cost you every time. So I don't know if there was something going on. I don't like making accusations or making some idea of what could be going on because we have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. But I like to see what they personally say and get an idea from it.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you for bringing the additional insight. Your sister in
Mhm.
love on here is saying you coming with the tea.
I try to.
I love it. I
I
love
don't
it.
like. I'm not a fan of gossip, but if they're saying it, then I'm gonna pick it up and be like, "This is what they said."
Yeah, it's tough. And of course, there's already people are trying to figure out why they're getting divorced and all
We don't
that.
know.
Yeah, we
We
don't.
have no idea.
We don't.
You
So
just pray for them.
absolutely. And pray for their children. Like I always feel like the children are
Yes.
the ones that get the short end of the stick when it comes to divorce because it's very challenging challenging to not have your parents in the same house and to not have a strong, healthy marriage to model yourselves after and to find security in when you're growing up. And quite honestly, that is even as an adult. So, yeah. And then in
Mm-hmm.
other news, we actually have news from Tom and Giselle, Tom Brady and his wife Giselle. They have hired divorce lawyers. Now, I know there was some talk a while ago, especially when he decided to come out of retirement. And from what has been said, again, we don't know all the facts. Giselle was
Yeah.
not pleased with that. I don't know if he consulted his wife about it or not when he decided, hey, I'm coming back, you know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of stress and strain there. And again, two children involved. You know, they have 13. They've been married 13 years, and they have two children: a 12-year-old Benjamin and a daughter Vivian. And so this one, it sounds like they're still in the process. I don't necessarily know if anyone has officially filed, but definitely a lot more money probably is at stake in this one. I mean, how many rings Tom got? Tom got he got a lot of rings. Like
Yeah.
he been in the football game for a minute, so it's yeah a lot. So all that to say, prayers for them. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're gonna make it to the official courts as far as filing their divorce, but they are in talks of divorcing as well. So a lot of trouble in paradise. I hate to come out the gate with such bad news, but yeah, just yeah. Keep these families in your prayers, and then also, gird up your own marriage if you are married, like gird it up because marriages are under attack. They're always under
Yeah.
attack for various reasons. So, but any thoughts or feedback regarding Tom and Giselle?
I just had a question for you guys.
Hmm.
I do sound like I have a delay. Am I okay?
Yep.
Okay. What would you guys do if your husband was in the NFL? You're happy for him. You're getting all the money, income, all that stuff. Would you be proud of it, or is it because he said he was retiring and he said he's going to go back? Why you understand the rift? Like, how would you feel if that happened to you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Ooh,
Because
I
I feel like that's enough money. I'm good. Hurry up and retire. I don't. I just watched Concussions from Will Smith.
Yep.
I don't want
right,
any more brain injuries. Like, stop right now. Be here
Tell
for
the
my
truth.
family.
right.
Yes.
It's a dangerous sport, and Ryan is so like, yeah, Mason can play football and da, 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 da. I'm like, I don't know about all that because it's such a dangerous sport. So I would be like, we have enough money. Like, why?
Yes,
Why are you
but
coming
it's the
back?
love.
It's the love of the game, but it's so hard on your body. So if I were
Yeah.
in her shoes, I don't know. I could see that being a problem. I was just watching this Instagram reel the other day, and it was like, I married a billionaire, and this is what happens when you come home and you um, find that your husband is cheating on you. And like, she puts on these dark sunglasses, and she's like, he turns around like I didn't see that because I don't want to mess up
Wow.
Oh,
this life
but
that we
that's an
have.
illusion.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
That's a mess. Yikes.
Mm,
That's yikes. I mean, I would say to your question, Camille, quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me if he's playing football, if he retires, if he decides to come back to retire, as long as we're in agreement, as long as there's communication about it. Because
yes.
if y'all aren't on the same page, like with
Hmm.
any of it, then we got a problem. But if we're in agreement, even if he's like, I'm retiring, and then he's like, babe, I prayed about it. I feel like I need to jump back in, and we're in agreement, we're on one accord, then I'm like, let's go. But if you like wake up one morning and you at a press conference talking about I'm coming back and I'm at home with the kids,
Like
like, no,
what?
no, 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 what?
Yeah.
Then we got a problem. Then we
Hmm.
have a problem. So I think for me, it really boils down to communication. Like you have got to be on one accord with your spouse and with the Lord, first and foremost. But like you
Absolutely.
got to be on one accord. You got to be on the same page. Communication is so important. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Definitely.
but that's a great question. Great question. So yes, y'all, keep these families and these children. I can't emphasize the children enough. Keep them in your prayers because I mean
Yeah.
it's definitely hard enough for them to be in the spotlight when everything is going great and just to have famous parents, period. But when there's turmoil and when your parents could potentially be at odds with one another, that's a lot, a lot.
Yeah.
So all right. Third and final thing. So, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We've seen, I think they released the first trailer over the summer. The second trailer was just released. And of course, it is confirmed that T'Challa, the role that was previously played by the late, great Chadwick Boseman, that character has been killed off in the actual movie, in the actual series. And so there was a lot of conversation around should they have done that just because he died in real life? Should they either have replaced him with another character or should they have, written something in a story where he is, sent off or whatever? I think one person referenced what they did in the Fast and Furious franchise with Paul Walker, where basically after his passing, they still referenced him and basically was like, he's focusing on his family. So all that to say, should they have killed off the character T'Challa in the actual movie Black Panther, or should they A, have recast the role, or B, just kind of given it an alternate plot where, he's not present, but someone else, is the focal point? What are your thoughts?
So recasting is tough for me because it never works for me. I love Home Alone. 1 and 2 were great, and then the third one was like, who's this kid? Like, it doesn't feel right. There's just certain movies where you just need to keep the same energy, and if unfortunately they pass away, I kind of respect that they're doing tribute to him. Like, he did a huge thing when that movie came out. Everyone was decked out in attire. Like, I respect that the culture more. Like, everyone is respecting it, the African culture more. I'm hearing more Afrobeat music, more like, I don't know, something after that movie. It's just been riling up with that culture. So I respect what he did, and I think the movie, the director wanted to honor him with that. And I just don't think there could be another Black Panther, like he went off somewhere, we're not going to see him for the next lifetime. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree with Camille on not recasting.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer for the new one that's coming out, and it seems like it's gonna be really good. Like, they did a good job, like, honoring him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it when it comes out in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been saying for years we're in the year of the woman. I feel like we're in the decade of the woman. This is another one to me where it seems like the women are taking the lead, from the amazing Angela Bassett to Letitia Wright, who plays his sister, to Naida Lupinga, who played his love interest. Like, they are jumping to the forefront. And my girl, I cannot remember her name, but she's also in The Walking Dead, but she's like the general of the army. Oh my gosh. So you really kind of see them taking the forefront, which is really great. So I'm excited. I'm going to see it. I think I'll have more to say after I see it, once I kind of get an idea of how they do it and, who they kind of pass the baton to as far as stepping into the lead role and the lead character, even though it may not be T'Challa. It'll be really interesting, but I'm excited. So we'll have to circle back after we've seen it and it's officially in theaters. So that concludes our segment on what's trending. Anything else before we dive on into the journey of becoming with Miss Camille?
Camille, we want to start off by learning a little bit more about your personal milestones. So we first want to kind of ask you, when did you start developing your relationship with God?
So that's a great question. My parents are really big on, I want to make sure that my home is led by the Lord, and I was very blessed by that. So at an early age, I knew who the Lord was, I knew who Christ was, I knew who the Holy Spirit was. And still to this day, I need like more help with the Holy Spirit, in my opinion. It's always going to be like a journey, understanding the Trinity as a whole. I would say 6 to 10 years is when I really, really developed my love for the Lord. I got baptized at 6, and then I really honed in a little bit more. So at a young age, a lot of people are like, so young, how do you know? It's just because I was living that side with my family. I did before knowing the Lord, had this warped reality that I was like the only main person and everyone around me were just angels protecting me. I don't know what it was, but I had a selfish mindset about myself. And I realized later down the line that that was not how it is in life, that everyone has their individual importance and we're all a part of a body of Christ collectively trying to serve the Lord. So the Lord is the main focus here on this earth. It just, as a young kid, I just thought everyone was trying to protect me or take care of me, and it's not about me anymore. So that kept me humbled throughout my life, that I'm trying to serve others and serve Him at the same time.
That's amazing that you learned that at an early age because I'm thinking
Yeah,
number one, you're young. Number
yeah,
two, you're the only girl in your family. So I feel like, there may have been a lot of, and I could be wrong, you correct me if I'm wrong, but either if there wasn't maybe a desire to either coddle or be coddled just because
yeah,
you were the only girl. And so I just love the fact that your parents and your family in general they were intentional about saying, hey, it's not all about you. It's about serving others as well. So kudos
yes,
to your family, to your parents for
yeah,
that as well. That's
that was huge.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 6 years old getting baptized is huge too. I was trying to
Yeah,
think of how old I was, and I'm trying to. My kids have not been baptized because I don't think they fully understand everything. So we're kind of
yeah,
waiting till they fully understand.
yeah.
I think I got baptized pretty young too, but I don't think I understood. I just knew like we were getting wet in the water.
Getting wet.
Yeah. And so, when I got older, I've understood, but that's
Mm,
amazing that that you had such a great understanding of it
yeah,
at a young
yeah,
age.
That's
definitely.
awesome.
Over the years, how has your relationship with God changed or evolved over
Yeah,
time?
yeah. So, like I said, like young, of course, there's still development that I need to experience. So I had to definitely go through some hardships to really understand what I got myself into. And it was in elementary school when I was actually emotionally bullied. I wasn't physically bullied, but that feeling of, I'm just being me. Why is someone treating me this way? Why am I getting bullied in this way? And it was the fact of me being a tomboy and loving to play football, tag football outside, like to do just active things. And girls didn't like that. They always kind of like huddled and talked about me. And one time I just had my lunch with the group, and they're like, "Do you like boys?" And I was in that mind frame of cooties, like, ew, gross, no. So after that discussion, they spread rumors that I was gay and all that stuff. And I just felt very alone, and I cried a lot. Like, I remember that feeling of not being wanted and feeling like, who are you? And since that, I pulled and I tried to tug on the Lord more, and that's what I read the Bible more. So that's where I kind of felt like I grew more in the Lord, because I turned to Him. And when I started sharing more about the gospel and about who the Lord is, like He's my superhero and everything, people are like, she's a Christian, she's not gay and all that stuff. But again, that it humbled me, because again, it's not about me, and it humbled me to treat others with respect. So I work with a lot of people of different lifestyles, different backgrounds, and I want them to see my heart. Like, I care about you, even though we might have different faiths or different opinions. I love you. And I had a deep conversation with a coworker of mine about that, because of like the Dahmer case and all that stuff. They were very heated, and I had a conversation about how I care about them and I understand your anger, but I have a more respect and more time of just listening to what they're dealing with, instead of having a hateful tone or like a judging tone now. So that experience when I was younger has helped shape me to where I'm at today.
Wow. That's amazing. And I think about just in this day and age how so many people, children, young people, have dealt with bullying. And quite honestly, I feel like it's gotten just worse over the
It's
years.
gotten
Probably,
worse with social media. Cannot imagine.
yeah, with social media and just, I think social media. in some cases doesn't allow people to take responsibility for their actions because
Yeah.
they're hiding behind a screen or they're hiding behind a keyboard, and it's like they feel like they can say whatever they want without necessarily experiencing the repercussions of that. And people are dying. People are
Yeah.
dying as a result of the hate that can be spewed, you know,
Yep.
over social media. So I guess my question would be like, what would you say to any young people that may be dealing with bullying or even may find themselves bullying someone else to, feel better about themselves, or just because it's what people do these days?
Yes, I would say, because sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I always thought that quote was full of BS. To be honest with you, words hurt, and
Hmm.
they sting, they linger, they fester, and it's always in your mind, so people don't know you're hurt. So I would say, be careful what you say. Um, Always use your words with kindness. Think before you speak. Um, and also your actions too. I don't want you to hurt anybody too. But be aware that apathy is not good, and we see it. Keyboards, your phone, just typing away, not caring, it's very dangerous. So just please be careful. And those who are being bullied, understand that you are loved. Always go back to your family. If you don't have family, always understand that there is a Lord who loves you, and if you need help, there are resources that I do not have available with me, but you could definitely research because suicidal thoughts are really, really big, and it's very real. And I understood, and I'll just say this, that what the Columbine guys thought of before they shot up the school, I understood what that mindset. Of course, I never thought of doing that, but I understand, like, why are you being so rude? Like, if I could, I like if I had a gun, like that sort of thing. But I never did it. Of course, I just be careful with your words.
Wow.
That I should not have said that last part, but yeah,
No,
just
it's real. It's
people
very
can be
real.
anger. Some people shelter, or they cower away. They go into shadows, or or other people will be like, no, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm going to attack you. So you need to be aware of your words.
Yeah.
The mind is a very powerful place.
Yeah,
When we let others into our minds, it could cause you to think really bad thoughts. I wish all
yeah,
parents would, teach their kids about being kind to others. Like, we've had to deal with some bullying as it relates to one of my daughters.
no,
Yeah, we've already had to start dealing with that, and we don't know, like, everything that is being said or done because she doesn't always communicate everything that has happened.
yeah,
I wish parents would just kind of teach their kids to be kind to others, and there's so much that we have to do to, like, rebuild her up when things are being said or done to
yeah,
her so that it doesn't affect her long term. I wish we could, like, protect and keep them in the bubble, but we can't do that to our children. So I
no,
just wish everybody could just teach their kids about good characteristics and being kind
yes,
to others.
yep, so true.
I would definitely say too that just the importance of having healthy outlets for children is very important. And like you were saying, Camille, it should be your family. If it isn't your family, no, though, praying that there are other outlets that you can find. Even if it's a school guidance counselor or someone
Hmm.
at church, or but someone in your space that you can just really be vulnerable and transparent with about how you're feeling and what you're thinking, because I think the longer you allow unhealthy feelings to fester, whether it's depression or whether it's anger on the other end of the spectrum, either of those untapped can lead to death. Either you taking your own life or taking someone else's life. So really making sure that you have healthy outlets, I think, is extremely key.
Yeah, very huge. So me turning to the Lord has saved me from attempts of either or. So I thank the Lord for that.
Amen. Amen.
So, Camille, do you mind sharing some important relational milestones on your life? Good or bad ones?
Yes, sure. So actually, I'm happy to share. I actually went on a date last week that was one of the best dates I've had. And it was very encouraging to experience that because I haven't had one in like the past 2 years. And it gave me hope because there's a lot of guys that they might want to date you and hang out with you, but they're not interested in a commitment. And that's now my main thing, or it will be a red flag. So, what are your intentions? That's like my earlier question for every guy now. Like, and if it's just they're wanting like a situationship where it's just hanging out, let's not call it anything. I'm not for that anymore. I had great experiences, great men of God. This past date, it didn't work out because he's not a Christian, but he treated me like a princess. So I called him out for it. I was like, you are a really amazing guy. But I prefer being equally yoked, and he understood that. He understood like I have this standard, I have this expectation, and I don't want to put that on him if he doesn't want it. So that didn't work out, and we're gonna hang out every once in a while. But he knows that I'm not gonna lead him on any further. So good and bad experiences. All I don't date a lot, so it's not like I'm racking up. It's just I've had a long dating experience with one guy. He was amazing, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, I would say for encouragement that there are good men out there who actually want purpose for their relationships. They're just not wanting just to hang out and whatnot. And I don't know if I want to do long distance relationships anymore in the future.
I have to ask you, Camille. First of all, thank you for like opening up about your dating life. Because
Yeah.
I mean, we could have poked and prodded, but you was just like, "Here it is, y'all. Here it is." So
Here it is.
thank you so much for that.
It's fine. Yeah.
I have to ask because I mean, again, kind of going back to what we were talking about with, bullying and how social media has changed. The dating game has changed a lot. I know it's changed a lot since both me and Toya were single. So, I mean, these dating streets look really different, and they look really different, especially if you're trying to be a woman of God who maintains a certain standard. So, I would love to know, like, what that journey has been like for you, if there's even any tips or words of advice that you can give to other single women that are in these dating streets and trying to maintain a standard.
Yes, my advice is don't be awkward with your godliness. I was a little cheesy sometimes, like where I allowed kissing, but I'm like 10 seconds, or like like there has to be a better way.
Time it out. 1,000, 2,000.
Like, so I understood now going back how awkward that is for a guy. Like, seriously, like, so I'm trying to be better romantic with my Christian standards, not be cheesy with it. So instead of say like, hey, there has to be a better way. Like, hey, I'm enjoying this, but hey, let me stop. I don't want to go push too far. So I have some regrets in those aspects, but I really do want that guy to know, like, hey, I am waiting until marriage. Like, that's really important for me. There's other like many things about like I don't want massages until marriage. Some guys might think that's weird or corny, but I know my limits to lust. I know that that's a struggle for me. So if you don't like those barriers, okay, that's a red flag for you to me, then don't pursue me any further. Like, I understand that those are some weird limitations, but if I go further, I know I'm gonna, be disobedient to the Lord.
If I could have been a fly on the wall in one of those moments of 10 seconds. I love it. No, I really love your standards, Camille. And I love to have recognized, okay, maybe that's a little too awkward. That's not That's not. I think Ryan would have been like 10 seconds, and if I would have been like timing it on my phone.
No, the thing is, I didn't. Like,
oh, you're breaking up. Say that one
thank
more
you.
time.
And
I know. Go back. We lost you for a minute.
I never timed it, like in my head, but I just knew when it was like, okay, like thank you. But it was just, I just knew my limits, but I didn't know the best way of saying, hey, like I'm feeling like let's not go too far, you know. Yeah. And I know that's awkward for guys, but I want them to know, like, I don't know. I'm saying them. I've only had like really one or two experiences, but I want them to say like, hey, I really do like you, but I can't go that far because I love God more right now. How do I do it without being cheesy, but at the same time have you still being attractive to me? That's where I don't know how to teach these young women today. Like I'm still struggling with how to make it romantic, but also let's take our time before we're married.
What?
We actually had that conversation before we decided to talk. Like, hey, there are some people who wait to even kiss. He's like, that is not a sin to me, Camille. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and I'm like, yes, it's not a sin to me too, but I just want to see where you're at in your head with your Christian walk.
It's not a sin, but it is a gateway drug. I would tell you that because I remember, and I'm gonna let you ask your question, Toy. I just want to say, it is a gateway drug because I remember me and Chris's first kiss, and that day was going to ask him his thoughts about kissing, but we ended up kissing before I asked him.
Okay.
And that kissing lasted a lot longer than 10 seconds. Like it probably should have stopped, because it was like literally like open the floodgates, like the floodgates, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so those boundaries I think are very, very real and very, very important, Camille. And I say all that to say probably the best way to address that is to have those conversations before the moments happen, because then you're on the same page. But if you're in the moment, it's not only awkward, but it's just hard. It's just hard. So,
and in the moment for me was my first kiss with him. It was my first kiss ever with a guy. Wow. And so I didn't have that 10-second rule or anything like that because it was a longer kiss the first time. And I'm like, okay, I can't do that again because that was amazing. So, but I can't, how can I tell this guy that without breaking his heart? And I think every time I would set a boundary, he would always feel hurt, like I was hurting him. But it's like, no, it's like, I want you, but I can't go that far. Like, I didn't know how to tell him that. And he just always got defensive with it. So I'm still working on that with my end. And I know that was a weakness for me. And some weaknesses for me too that I'm working on too is passive aggressiveness. So if I get hurt by him, I kind of do these like silly things that he's like, what the heck did I do now? sort of thing. So I'm working on that too. I know that is a weakness of mine. So I'm always focusing on how I could do better than how he hurt me. Because it's like simple how he hurt me, but I'm not going to like broadcast that to people.
I have a question. Because, I wrote a book about similar to this little topic.
I need to buy that book. I thought I bought it, but for some reason, I don't know if it didn't come in. But yes, I need your book.
What or who taught you, like, how to date and behave when you're dating? Like, was there someone that taught you? Like, where did the awkwardness come from? Like, did your mom kind of say, you need these kind of boundaries? Like, where did it come from? Who taught you? Or are you kind of just learning on your own? Just out of curiosity.
I'm kind of learning as I go, but I've been listening to a lot of life coaches, and I kind of like get ideas from a little bit from here and there, nuggets from here and there. But a lot of my boundaries are kind of based on experience that, how much before I felt too much, and then I made my personal boundaries. So I could see why guys might not like that. It's like, that came out of your butt. Like, where did that come from? And it's like, it's just my personal emotions. If I felt too much, and what that means, like too much lust, then you should have that, hey, I can't do that too much. But how do I do it without turning them off?
You should check out my book.
Okay, I will.
Give us the title, Toya, and where they can get it.
Shameless Secrets or Secrets of the Sexy and Shameless. You can get it on Amazon or my website at kashanbooks.com or on the Becoming Eva website. I believe we linked it to the Becoming Eva website, Maya, if I'm not mistaken.
I know, I want to say we did, but I can't remember either.
But it's definitely on Amazon, and my website is Kashan Books. I'll put it in
Awesome.
the chat. But you should check it out because you're not the only one that has had these questions and that has struggled in that area. So
especially if it was like my first real dating experience where you want it to be great, you almost want to impress, but then it doesn't work out. And I'm also reading this book currently, Standing in Confidence, which is good so far too, by Amanda Pittman. So she's a pretty good author as well. So just being confident in myself, not feeling like having some self-esteem issues during the process, understanding your self-worth and owning it. So those are really important things for me.
I love it. I do have one more question before we transition into the professional milestones. I wanted to know, and of course, share what you're comfortable with or what you're not comfortable, or or don't feel like you have to share what you're comfortable with. I'll say that. But I wanted to ask how your father may have impacted your perspective on men, and this could either be with you growing up or even now since he has passed. What has that dynamic been like, or how has your navigation, if you will, of men and relationships been since then?
That's a very good question. My dad was always there, so I would have to say my love language, and I did that quiz, is quality time, for sure. And my dad provided that for me, and I will never forget his time with me. And the other thing is, what was it? Act of service. So my dad was really big on evangelism, and he was big on like going out and sharing the gospel, and that was always an inspiration for me too. And he was used to rejection, so that helped me build up with rejection too. So I guess that's kind of what I want in a guy, and why I realized with a long distance relationship experience why it won't work for me if there's lack of effort. If I want that quality of time and it's not there, like there's something missing. If I see that you're doing something and I didn't know about it, I feel left out. Like it's just, so my experience with my dad was a high standard. Like he really, so now everybody else is kind of hard. I'm giving grace because he showed grace to me with my difficult times in life. But yeah, I expect respect from men too.
And you should. You absolutely should. So thank God for your dad setting high standards for you. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of wildlife around me, which is wonderful. But like I just saw a cat with a squirrel in her mouth just running across.
Oh no.
Ew.
Came by. It's fine.
So
I can't see you guys. Am I still okay? I feel like I'm sweating. We're good?
We're good.
Okay. Just want to make
sure. Thank you, Camille. Wow. All right, let's transition into the professional milestones. Now, for those of you that may or may not know, Camille is a veterinarian by trade. But I want to ask you, like, have you always wanted to be a veterinarian? Like, what did you want to be when you were little, when you grew up? Or if that was it, how did you come to that?
I think I've always loved animals. There was a picture of me when I was like 1 or 2 years old, chasing after a cat in a picture. So I was like, something like attracted me to them. My first interest was working with wildlife. I loved after school turning on the TV and watching just National Geographics. And I feel like that was a little bit too young sometimes. Mating scenes, like I think I got a little bit too soon. But apart from that, a lot of just beauty. I wanted to be a videographer and a photographer. Like that just fascinated me. So in high school, I took a few classes. But then as I was going along, before I made my decision to pursue animal science, I just felt, again, that's selfish. Like I always go like, is this selfish? Just taking pictures and the videography the whole time and not helping them. So mine shifted a little bit to the medicine aspect, and I loved it. And I thought I would hate blood, but my first anatomy, I was like, what is this oily substance that is running between my fingers? It's awesome.
Oh my God.
That is scary. Never mind. I just thought it was really cool doing surgery. Like I was fascinated with surgeries. Goodness gracious, I just watched the Dahmer documentary. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm not
I watched
like
it too. I did. Go ahead.
That's not me, okay? But no, I like yes. So yeah, so now that I'm in veterinary medicine, I feel like I did the right thing. I love it. There are some hard times too, because you still have to deal with people, which is still my weakness, communication and all that stuff. And if they're like rude and angry, how do I, be kind? Because the customer is kind of always right, but not really. So it's giving me patience. But yeah, that was my journey with my profession. Is I wanted to do something afar, and now I'm actually close hands-on.
Now take me. Oh, go ahead, Toya.
Okay. I was just gonna say, people can always make any profession or job that you do like 10 times more difficult.
Yes, facts.
Very, very quickly. Go ahead, Maya.
That's an important skill to have. And honestly, I'll say I have that skill, but it's a draining one. So I try to limit how much I engage people, because I'll be like, the grace of God is there for you, but Lord knows the well is running dry. I'm gonna need a minute to go and replenish and come back.
But what helps me, my mentor said this earlier on, it has helped me. He said 20% of your anger and anxiety of the day is with rude clients, but 80% is just joy. Like, really understand that. But that's the 20% ruins your day. So if you understand that you're really enjoying the majority of your day, that's going to help you conquer those moments of stress.
That's good. That's really good. I was going to ask you, because I am really curious, like, just what the educational journey of becoming a veterinarian looks like. Like, I mean, you're basically a doctor for animals. So it's like, how long was your educational journey? What were your majors? What did you have to study? Like, just really curious about that. Is there veterinarian school? Like, all of that for somebody like me who doesn't know the process, or someone who may be interested in becoming a veterinarian. Like, what was your educational journey like?
Sure. So of course you have the regular, everyone goes up from elementary to high school, and then you go into the just your regular college years, 4 years of that. So you're basically a pre-vet during that time. You do those strict criteria of what is needed for veterinary medicine. And then there's also certain hours you need, volunteer work. So I did like most of the shelters to just help clean up the kennels and stuff like that. And then I did a 3-week, because you have to do an internship before vet school. So this is still in your 4 years of just regular college. And I went to Nicaragua and Costa Rica and did just surgeries nonstop those days. That was amazing, because I got to be enriched with the culture. We got to stay in their homes who wanted to, help us out during the journey. And I got to see a lot too. So that might answer like another question you guys may have later on. I don't know. But after that, once you have your hours, you have to do like a certain testing to get into it too. Your application, you need like about 2 or 3 vets, little recommendation. So that's another for vets, pre-vet students. When you are asking for a recommendation, before you even do anything with that vet or doctor, whoever you're talking to, go to in the first day of that semester saying, hey, I would love for you to do my recommendation letter. You don't know who I am, but I want you to see my face. And then halfway through, I'm going to talk to you and say like, hey, I'm going to come in, ask you questions, do like help me tutoring and stuff. How am I doing this year? And then towards the end of the year, all right, how am I doing? How did I improve? All that stuff. So that the professor, especially the veterinarian who I was with in Costa Rica, was very impressed with me doing that, because she actually watched me throughout the entire 3 weeks and saw my growth instead of me waiting at the end and be like, hey, so can you give me a recommendation letter? Like they probably were focusing on me. So they're like, no, I was honing in on you, seeing your strengths, and you've been doing really great these times. So my letters were amazing. So I appreciated that. And then when I go into vet school, that was also I was crying. That so when you get into certain big things, those are big moments, by the way. So it's gonna feel good.
Yes.
And then I did 4 years of vet school, and I already made it up in my mind that I wasn't going to do internships, residency. Like residency for human medicine is different from us. We just have different years, so it's going to be a little different experience. I was interested in surgery, which will be another 3 or 4 years after the 4 years of vet school. But I'm like, nah, I don't have time for this. I want to start getting paid so I can pay off my loans. I hate feeling a slave to the loaner. Like I hate it. So
Yeah.
I started going to general practice immediately after the 4 years. So a lot of vets don't do that. They do like maybe 1 year of internship and then they go to general practice or like a specialty. But I just wanted to go right in there. So my next advice is to make sure you go somewhere where they will have either a training process or a great mentor of a boss. So I was really big on that, and I was fortunate to find a doctor, my boss. She's like the board of directors of like this really high-end website that a lot of vets go to get advice. So she was with me every day, and she was my little advisor, mentor every day. So that was amazing. And her focus was internal medicine, which is like a high specialty gift that she has. So whenever there were difficult cases, I could, bounce back ideas with her. And she really, really saved my life my first 2 years working with her. So yeah, that was my earlier years. Now I'm like 5 years in veterinary medicine, and I'm finally feeling confident to now mentor someone else. So this is my last week of mentoring a new vet, and I'm glad to like pass the torch sort of thing. Is a nice feeling. So yeah, that's kind of like my bit.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm so glad that you heard me and there was no scratches or hiccups. I'm nervous about that.
We heard you. You were breaking up a little bit, but we got the
Dang
major
it!
pieces of it. So
Dang it! Okay, okay.
I know it's all good. It's all good. No, thank you for taking the time, especially
Yeah.
while you're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so what would you say your career looks like, or would you want it to look like in your next phase of life?
Absolutely. So, I want you to, if I mess up or you don't hear me, just do this so I know what to pause or something. But,
Oh, we
um,
will. Yeah.
okay, perfect, perfect. So the next year or two, hopefully all my loans will be paid off. That is my main goal right now, and I'm excited about it. It's about 4 years, and I'll pay it off. And then I want to focus on ministry with my veterinary
Mhm.
medicine. So I really want to travel, go abroad, and do hands-on and help other vets there or learn from other vets there, and also do evangelism at the same time. Like that's really powerful to me. I do believe in evangelism can be anywhere. Just sharing my life with the Lord at work. I'm not being like a hound or type like you got to. No, I'm just like this is who I am. Take it or leave it type of thing. But yeah, it's taking maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I don't care if it's a paid or unpaid vacation, and just going abroad and helping and serving with my medicine knowledge.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Whew.
Big aspirations and dreams. I love it.
Oh yeah, I already talked to my boss, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it."
I love it. I love it. Wow. Huh, okay, I have a not well, I guess it may be somewhat random, but I wanted to ask you about this, Camille, because I know you posted a couple weeks ago that you are, and actually one of your teammates is on here, Mr. Conrad for MTMV Sports, that you recently joined their team. So I
Yes.
was like, Camille is blazing a trail wherever she goes. For those of you that don't know, MTMV is led by our, fierce fly friend Rick Sincere, who does any and everything he puts his mind to. Also a professor, also a doctor, but he actually MTMV spoke focuses on sports, and so and music as well. They do sports and music. But I'm really curious, like, what led you to join that team, and what are you passionate about when it comes to sports? Like, what I know you said earlier, you know, grew up like a tomboy. Like, I was like, Camille is doing the thing. But can you tell just a little bit about that?
Yeah. So first of all, what's up, Conrad? Thanks for joining us. So I honestly did not have time for the last 5-6 years of watching sports because of veterinary medicine, but I love doing sports, so I always wanted to like give to the community or like give back. How can I help? So um, Ernest, who you guys know from FMG with Track Stars, he saw how much I've been helping out Track Stars, which is what my brother's business is, which is just like kingdom business where we're bringing the godly content to the mainstream. So it's with music, it's with current topics, politics, and we just kind of share our faith in the midst of all that. So he liked that I was good on booking people to the show, like the behind the scenes stuff. So he's like, can we use your talent with MTMV? So I am doing behind the scenes stuff. I'm doing a lot of media credentials for them. So if they want to go to a game, I fill out the form, I give them their information so that they can get passes to be behind the scenes, go to the press box or go on the field, interview players, be a part of the press conference. So that, I thought it was really cool. And I had the opportunity to be a part of that experience where I got my own press pass. I got to be on the press box. I got to see the game. I got free food at the press box. I got to go to the press conference and ask the coach questions, the players questions. So I didn't think that was possible. So now that I experienced it and I got a flavor, a taste of it, I'm like, NFL. Oh yeah, I want to go to the Super Bowl. I want to get that buffet at the press box. I want to meet people, network. I want to like interview players. Like, I think that'll be fun.
I love it. Doggone it, Rick Sincere. Look, we should have got that idea before him, Toya. That's a good idea. Look.
It's really cool. And you guys are good with interviewing and all that stuff. So it's a good opportunity. And Ernest, he helped me go to India and teach biology to monks. So he has very good networking skills, and he has helped me out with my passion to want to go abroad and teach and help out. And that sparked an interest for me a lot.
I love it. I love it. I had to ask because when I saw that in your feed, I said Camille does it all. I tell you, but I love it. I love it. So y'all heard
Yes.
it here first. If you need help with your bookings and credentials
Yeah.
for press releases and stuff, Camille is your girl. I love it.
Yep. You have to really have a good, substantial backing or like movement or community or website or something behind you, though. It can't be just you like, hey, I'm interested. No. Like, who are you working with? What are your stats? Like, you can't just walk and get a free pass of anything.
I love it. Great tips. Great insight.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we do our book devotional check-in?
Well, before we do this, Camille, did you have a woman of noble character that you wanted to recognize? Maybe somebody in the community or someone that has inspired you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so noble character, I had to like, of course, I always like the good definition. So having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideals. And immediately when I read it, I'm like, my mom. I know it was a simple answer, but my mom, since I was young to now, has been such an encouragement to me. She understands high standards and not afraid of like being like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure that's like, I think you deserve better. Like, she's not afraid to say those things. And I love her. She's used to be a teacher and in Florida and in Georgia, and I would just like be shopping with her, and like a student comes to her and just gives her a huge hug, and she's like, you have no idea how you've impacted my life. Like, that inspired me to like, how can I be a huge like legacy for others, and how can I help others, and again pass the baton and let them lead the way to something else. Like, so my mom is very, very important to me, and she's blessed me over the years. Very noble character.
I love it. Love your mom as well. She's an awesome woman of God. Awesome woman.
Oh yeah.
Can you share her full name so we can give her proper acknowledgement?
Yes. Sandra Marine Grant. Sandra Grant. I almost forgot her middle name, but yeah. You wanted the full name.
All right. So Sandra Marine Grant, You are a woman of noble character. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't seen my face all this hour, and I feel like I am like
Oh,
feeling real.
you have a glow. It's like an
Oh, good.
effervescent glow. So you're
I'm near
good.
the pool. Like I'm having a great time.
I love it. All right, y'all, let's dive into our becoming devotional check in. For those of you that may or may not know, this is day 8 of our becoming devotional, and I really enjoyed it thus far. Like, really diving into the book of Proverbs, reading one proverb a day, but then also each devotional, each day of the devotional, I should say, is very practical. So I'm
Mm.
trying to think of one day or 2 days that may have jumped out to me. Um, yeah. Toya, if you want to start, you can. I'm chewing on mine still, trying to narrow it down.
Yeah, I think for me, what jumped out was day 3,
Mm,
confidence and security. And in that, on that day, we really talked about uh, being present.
Yeah.
When you're at home with your children, with your spouse, being a good listener, putting your phone down, um, or anything that's distracting you when you should be in the moment spending quality time with your children and with your family and your spouse. And having self confidence is huge. Uh, that really stood out to me. It was the self confidence piece and how she connected it with Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, enabling her to provide a safe place for her husband to trust his heart, and then her integrity, trustworthiness, and wise choice of words instill confidence in him to embark on the day and return home, knowing
mm.
he's properly manage the affairs of the home, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So that has stood out to me the most right now.
That's a really
That's
good one,
good.
Toya. And I know that is something that I have consistently worked towards since being married is really making sure that our home is a place of peace. Like I want to make sure
Mm.
that when Chris gets home or comes in from wherever, that he can let down his guard, that he can exhale, that he can relax, that he can feel safe and secure. And then at the same time, practical things like he's not tripping over stuff, that the house looks somewhat
Yeah.
decent, that, there's food for him to partake, whether I have, cooked it that day or not, but there's preparation, if you will, where he's like, okay, I can, step into something and not have to figure something out, so that's been something I've really worked toward. And then I'll also say today's day on early rising jumped was at the forefront of my mind, not necessarily even because I'm an early riser. I mean, I feel like some days I rise earlier than others, but just that whole aspect of preparing and getting into the day before everything gets going, like that's really key because if I can be intentional about setting the tone for my day by spending time with God first and foremost before things start popping off, before people start asking me for stuff, before I have to start doing things, then it really does help my day to go smoother, and it does help me to be in a more positive frame of mind. I hate starting the day and feeling like I'm starting behind the 8 ball and playing catch up all day. So that was a really good one for me. And just the importance of it, because oftentimes I will find for me, if it's not early in the morning, then it's usually late at night or even smack dab in the middle of the day. If I can find some silence or some solitude where I can really just hone in, I need those quiet pockets of time with God in order to hear him clearly and in order to just really pour out my heart before him. So today's devotional on early rising stuck out to me as well. So y'all, we're only on day 8. If you have not already, feel free, get your copy. And I'm going to remind you too, we are doing a giveaway at the end of the month. So if you have your copy or if you're doing the audio book, screenshot it or what have you, and slide it in our DMs so you will have a chance to win a gift card at the end of this month. We would love for you to go on this journey with us. Again, it's only 31 days, 10 to 15 minutes out of your day to spend in God's word and to read a couple pages each day. And I promise you'll be blessed by it. I know we have been incredibly blessed by it. So, anything else for our becoming devotional check-in?
Yeah, just make sure you grab
You
your
want to
book so you can participate with us this season. It's really it's not like a long task, so you can definitely like fit it in your day. And then if you don't, you can most people have like the Bible app, so you can play the chapter. It's just a chapter um, with um, with the one chapter from the Bible with the one chapter in the Becoming book, which is only like 2 or 3 pages. So it's really short and sweet. It doesn't take a lot of time out of your day. And I have 4 kids, so if I can fit it in with a full-time job and everything else, everybody else can. If you're joining us, you can find the time, I promise. You can
And
make
that again is the author who you guys interviewed last week?
No, it's
okay.
we haven't interviewed this author, but her name is Chrystal Bernard.
Okay.
Yep. So check her out. Check out the devotional. It's been a real blessing. So
yes,
Awesome.
yes. Don't forget to get your merch at Becoming Eva today. Mugs, shirts, hats, all kinds of different things on the website. Support Becoming Eva at Becoming Eva today. And then join us next time. We'll have Portia Love in studio next
Yay!
time. So hopefully you
Love
guys
her.
nice.
yes, we're excited. So you'll see us in studio and you'll hear more about the journey of becoming with none other than Miss Portia Love. So we look forward to seeing y'all next week. But until then, yeah.
Don't
Take
forget
care.
to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Becoming Eva Today. See you
See you
guys soon.
soon.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Camille.